"This isn't supposed to happen," whispered Dr. Olivia Hayes, her eyes frozen on the X-ray screen, the fluorescent lights flickering above casting a cold glow over the small examination room. The morning air outside the window carried a crisp chill, the faint scent of rain from last night lingering on the asphalt of the parking lot. Ranger, a 5-year-old German shepherd with a sable coat darkening along his spine, sat on the tiled floor, ears perked, amber eyes wide, tail tucked slightly as if sensing the tension in the room. The hum of the X-ray machine and the faint beeping of a heart monitor were the only sounds, each tick echoing through the sterile space, stretching seconds into lifetimes. Ethan Cole stood nearby, boots scuffing lightly against the floor, the weight of his hands pressed into his pockets, knuckles white from a nervous grip. His military jacket, olive green and worn at the seams, carried the faint aroma of pine and leather from his last deployment, and his hazel eyes, sharp but weary, never left Ranger's trembling form. The room smelled faintly of antiseptic mixed with the lingering warmth of the dog, the contrast of cold metal instruments and living warmth pressing against Ethan's chest like a reminder that life, even fragile, persisted. Dr. Hayes swallowed, adjusting her glasses, and the small movement drew Ranger's attention, his head tilting slightly as if asking a silent question. Ethan crouched slowly, voice soft. "It's okay, buddy. I've got you." Ranger responded with a faint whine, his body tense but rooted to the spot, eyes flicking between Ethan and the X-ray screen, the unspoken bond between them thick as the morning fog lingering outside the clinic window. A flash of memory crossed Ethan's mind, the first day they met in the training yard, the way Ranger had approached without fear, the spark of trust igniting instantly, a promise in silence that neither words nor commands could replace. The doctor stepped closer, her hands hovering near the dog without touching, the X-ray still glaring back at her with its stark white shadows and dark voids, the shape of what Ranger had swallowed, an incomprehensible blur on the monitor, and yet undeniable. Ethan reached out, letting his hand brush against the fur along Ranger's back, feeling the slight shiver ripple through the animal's muscles, a pulse of life steadying under the tension. Outside, a faint breeze stirred the branches against the window, rustling leaves, the sun just beginning to cast pale gold through the blinds, slicing across the floor in thin lines that danced over Ranger's fur, highlighting each ripple, each contour, a quiet illumination in the midst of uncertainty. Dr. Hayes finally exhaled, the sound breaking the stillness, and spoke, her tone measured but edged with awe. "We need to act quickly, but he's not alone. Someone's here with him." Ethan's gaze met hers, a silent understanding passing between them, a shared recognition that the moment held the weight of possibility, of lives teetering on the edge, and yet threaded with the fragile hope that could only be born from trust and presence. Ranger shifted slightly, head lowering, eyes closing briefly before reopening, amber depths reflecting the light, steadying his breathing, the slight rise and fall of his chest echoing through the quiet room, a rhythm that grounded Ethan in the immediacy of this shared danger. The hum of the X-ray machine, the faint drip of a distant four, the soft creak of the floor under Ethan's boots, all converged into a single, taut thread of anticipation, as if the universe itself had paused to witness the fragile cusp between fear and salvation. And in that suspended breath, both man and dog were acutely aware that every second mattered, every heartbeat was a covenant of life. And the quiet courage they shared was more potent than any spoken word, the promise of rescue already, humming softly between them, ready to unfold. The room felt smaller now, every surface gleaming under the harsh fluorescent light, yet carrying a warmth that came from the presence of life. Ethan shifted his weight slightly, careful not to startle Ranger, whose body remained low, muscles tensed yet quivering with anticipation. Dr. Hayes moved methodically around the examination table, her gloved hands ready, not with fear, but with precise focus, eyes narrowing slightly as she studied the canine patient. The faint hum of the heart monitor created a subtle rhythm, mingling with the soft hiss of the air conditioning, each sound a marker of time passing in slow motion. Outside, the morning had begun to bloom, pale sunlight filtering through blinds, casting thin stripes across the tiled floor and illuminating the faint dust motes dancing in the air. Ethan crouched lower, running a hand gently along Ranger's back, feeling the slight rise and fall of his chest, the warmth of life beneath the sable fur. He spoke softly, words meant more for grounding than for information. "Stay with me, Ranger. We are going to figure this out." The dog responded with a subtle nudge of his head, ears flicking, eyes brightening with trust that transcended spoken language. Dr. Hayes adjusted the X-ray screen again, tilting the angle to catch a better view, and a line of soft white light reflected along the floor, highlighting Ranger's attentive posture, the subtle quiver of anticipation and fear. Ethan's mind flashed briefly to the morning walk from yesterday, the sunlight glinting off Ranger's coat, the way the dog had bounded over the cracked concrete of the parking lot with joy and energy, unaware of what might come, and now tethered by the fragile hold of circumstance, yet undiminished in spirit. The vet moved closer, gently lifting Ranger's paw, and the slight shift caused the dog to step back a single careful foot, amber eyes watching every movement, reflecting a careful calculation and trust. Ethan's voice remained soft, a grounding mantra in the quiet tension. "You are safe here, buddy. We are on your side." A distant beeping from another monitor mixed with the subtle creak of Ranger's shifting weight, a soft brush of fur against the smooth tile, and the scent of clean antiseptic mingled with the natural musk of the dog, creating an atmosphere thick with concentration and anticipation. Each second stretched, yet carried an intensity that bound the room together. Ethan, Ranger, and Dr. Hayes existing in this delicate balance, a shared moment where presence and attention became instruments of care. The X-ray light flickered briefly, shadows dancing across the walls, drawing Ethan's focus to the subtle contour of the image, the ambiguity of shapes within, a silent puzzle that demanded patience and calm. And Ranger, sensing the tension, pressed slightly closer, head leaning toward Ethan's hand, trusting instinctively, a quiet dialogue of empathy passing between them. Outside, the wind shifted, brushing faintly against the windows, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and early spring blooms, a reminder that the world continued. Yet within these walls, time held a pause, each heartbeat and breath accentuated, every glance and subtle motion weighted with significance. Ethan adjusted his stance, rolling his shoulders, breathing deliberately, matching his rhythm with Ranger's, a silent promise that whatever challenge lay ahead would be faced together, anchored in trust, presence, and the unspoken bond that had been forged over years of shared experience and unwavering companionship. Dr. Hayes finally met Ethan's gaze, a subtle nod acknowledging the alignment of focus, the readiness to act, the understanding that this moment, poised between uncertainty and hope, required the full attention of everyone present, a delicate choreography of patience, trust, and the quiet strength of loyalty. Dr. Olivia Hayes adjusted the sterile mask over her face, taking a careful step toward the examination table, her eyes never leaving Ranger, who now shifted his weight slightly, head tilting as if calculating the intentions of the humans around him. The soft overhead lights reflected off the smooth tiles, casting a gentle glow that highlighted the subtle ripples in the dog's fur and the fine dust particles suspended in the air. Ethan Cole remained crouched nearby, his hands hovering just above Ranger's back, careful not to startle him, breathing in sync with the animal, every inhalation and exhalation a quiet rhythm of reassurance. Outside, the morning sun had climbed higher, thin streaks of light sneaking through the blinds, illuminating the narrow lines of shadow across the floor, a contrast to the sterile brightness of the room, and the faint hum of the air conditioning punctuated the soft rhythmic beeping of the heart monitor, each sound marking the passage of tension-filled seconds. Ranger's ears flicked at every subtle sound, the faint shuffle of Dr. Hayes' shoes, the soft click of her instruments, the muted footfall of Ethan as he shifted his weight. And yet there was no panic, only a tense focus, the quiet determination of a creature sensing the gravity of the moment. Dr. Hayes spoke softly, her voice measured. "We are going to take it one step at a time, Ranger." And the dog responded with a small, almost imperceptible nudge of his nose against Ethan's hand, grounding both man and animal in the shared presence of care. Ethan's eyes scanned the room, taking in every detail, from the small tray of instruments neatly arranged, to the gentle rise and fall of Ranger's chest, the warm amber of his eyes reflecting the pale light. And for a fleeting moment, Ethan remembered their first meeting at the training grounds, the immediate spark of trust and connection, the way Ranger had approached with cautious curiosity, already choosing to believe in him. And now, in this unfamiliar environment, that bond provided a quiet anchor. The vet carefully moved a small instrument closer, her hands steady, and Ranger shifted again, sniffing the air, ears perking, eyes fixed on the X-ray monitor as Ethan whispered, "It is going to be all right, buddy. We are right here." A faint sound of a distant ambulance echoed down the street, mingling with the soft rustle of leaves brushing against the window pane, the faint hint of damp earth and spring blooms drifting in through a slightly cracked vent, adding a sense of life beyond the sterile walls, and reminding them that even amidst uncertainty, the world continued. Ranger's tail twitched lightly, a subtle signal of focus and trust, his amber gaze never leaving Ethan's face, a quiet dialogue passing between them without words. Dr. Hayes finally nodded toward Ethan, a shared understanding in her expression, signaling the readiness to proceed, the air between them taut with anticipation, yet underlined by a fragile hope, a belief that attention, patience, and the unspoken bond between human and dog could guide them through the delicate steps ahead. Every movement became deliberate, precise, infused with care, the faint metallic smell of the instruments intermingling with the natural warmth of life in the room, the quiet intensity of focus making every small sound and motion significant, each breath a measure of trust, and in that suspended moment, man and dog existed together in a harmony of intent, poised on the edge of uncertainty, but carried forward by the steadfast presence and shared resilience that had become their silent language. Dr. Olivia Hayes moved deliberately, her fingers steady as she reached for the small tray of instruments, each tool meticulously arranged and catching the light in a muted glimmer, while Ranger's amber eyes followed every motion, unblinking, head slightly lowered, muscles taut beneath the sable fur. Ethan Cole adjusted his stance, leaning slightly forward, the soft creak of his boots against the tile punctuating the quiet room, his breath slow and deliberate, matching the rhythm of the dog, a shared cadence that seemed to calm the tension in the space. The faint scent of antiseptic mixed with the warmth of Ranger's fur, carrying with it a subtle reassurance, a reminder of life amidst the sterile brightness. Outside, the sun had risen higher, slanting pale golden light through the blinds, casting long, thin shadows across the floor, tracing delicate patterns across Ranger's fur and the tiled walls, a gentle illumination that softened the edges of the room. Dr. Hayes' eyes met Ethan's briefly, a silent nod of coordination, and then she spoke in a calm, measured tone. "We are ready to proceed, step by step," her words weaving a quiet confidence into the air. Ranger shifted slightly, raising his head to nuzzle Ethan's hand, a small motion that communicated trust and focus, the bond between human and dog palpable, grounding them both in the moment. Ethan's voice was steady, low, carrying the weight of reassurance and presence. "We are right here with you, buddy. You can do this." A faint rustle of paper from the adjacent counter, the soft beep of a monitoring device, and the gentle hum of the air conditioning filled the background, creating a subtle rhythm that made every movement intentional, every glance meaningful. Ranger's tail flicked, just enough to indicate awareness and engagement, ears pricked, muscles shifting slightly as he anticipated the next step, his amber eyes reflecting the light and the focused attention of both humans nearby. Dr. Hayes leaned in, carefully aligning a small instrument while Ethan's hand remained lightly on Ranger's back, the warmth from the contact offering silent reassurance, a tactile anchor amid the uncertainty of the moment. The faint scratch of metal on tile, the soft exhalation of breath, and the quiet shuffle of feet all merged into a symphony of attention, each detail heightened by the stillness and anticipation in the room. Ethan's gaze flicked briefly to the X-ray screen, the shape within still unclear, yet he maintained a calm exterior, knowing Ranger relied on his composure, a mirror of steady confidence for the dog to follow. Ranger gave a low, subtle whine, a sound more of focus than distress, shifting slightly closer to Ethan, pressing his side gently against the human hand, the contact radiating reassurance. Dr. Hayes adjusted her posture, leaning slightly closer, eyes scanning for the perfect angle, and the soft light from the monitor illuminated Ranger's attentive expression, highlighting each subtle movement, the rise and fall of the chest, the faint shiver of muscles readying for the careful procedure ahead. Outside, the breeze stirred leaves faintly against the windows, carrying with it the scent of morning blooms and damp earth, a quiet reminder of the world beyond the room. And within this concentrated moment, time seemed to stretch, every heartbeat accentuated, every small motion imbued with significance, as the team of 2 humans and 1 dog prepared to navigate the delicate steps that lay ahead with patience, trust, and unwavering attention. The soft whir of the ceiling fan blended with the steady hum of the air conditioning, creating a subtle rhythm that filled the room as Dr. Olivia Hayes carefully reached for the next set of instruments, her movements precise and deliberate, eyes never leaving Ranger, who now shifted his weight slightly, tail brushing the cool tile, ears flicking at every subtle sound. Ethan Cole remained crouched beside him, fingers lightly resting on the dog's back, the warmth of the touch grounding both man and animal in a shared focus, their breathing synchronized, each inhalation and exhalation a quiet testament to trust. The morning sunlight had climbed higher, casting a softer, golden hue through the blinds, highlighting the contours of Ranger's muscular frame, the subtle dapples of color in his sable coat catching the light, and the gentle rise and fall of his chest as he inhaled deeply, steadying himself for what was to come. Dr. Hayes spoke softly, her voice a calm anchor in the tension-filled room. "Just a little longer, stay steady, Ranger." And the dog responded with a faint tilt of his head, amber eyes locking on Ethan's with unwavering focus. Ethan adjusted his hand along Ranger's spine, feeling the slight ripple of muscles beneath his touch, the warmth of fur against skin grounding them both, the bond between them a silent communication stronger than words. The faint beeping of the heart monitor marked the passage of moments, each sound amplified in the quiet room, mingling with the soft shuffle of Dr. Hayes' shoes and the subtle scratch of instruments as she prepared the next step, all movements deliberate, intentional, infused with care and attentiveness. Outside, the breeze moved gently, rustling leaves against the window pane, carrying with it the fresh scent of spring blooms and damp earth, a reminder that the world continued beyond the walls of the clinic. Yet within this space, every second held weight, every subtle shift in posture and glance magnified. Ranger's ears flicked, tail moving slightly, muscles coiled with readiness yet relaxed under Ethan's steady hand, amber eyes bright, with a quiet intelligence and trust, responding instinctively to the calm energy around him. Dr. Hayes leaned closer, aligning the instruments carefully, her gloved hands moving with precision and confidence, and Ethan whispered softly, "We are right here, buddy. You are safe." His voice a low, steady thread of reassurance that Ranger followed instinctively, shifting slightly closer, pressing against Ethan's side. The X-ray screen glowed faintly, illuminating the dog's attentive gaze, shadows and light dancing across the fur, highlighting every subtle movement, every twitch of the ears and slight shift of weight, a dialogue of focus and presence passing silently between man and animal. The hum of the air conditioning, the faint beeps, and the occasional soft creak of the floor beneath Ethan's boots created a layered soundscape, each element grounding the moment, emphasizing the careful patience required, the delicate attention, and the unwavering focus shared by Ethan, Dr. Hayes, and Ranger as they prepared for the precise, deliberate actions that would guide them through the critical steps ahead with calm, trust, and an unspoken promise of care. The atmosphere in the examination room tightened as the minutes stretched, the quiet punctuated only by the soft hum of the heart monitor and the gentle whir of the ceiling fan above. Ranger shifted slightly, leaning into Ethan Cole's side, his amber eyes wide with focused attention, reflecting the calm determination of his companion. Dr. Olivia Hayes adjusted her gloves, her movements meticulous, each motion deliberate and unhurried, her gaze flicking between the instruments and the dog, anticipating every subtle shift in posture and breath. The sunlight streaming through the blinds cast long, soft streaks across the floor, highlighting the contours of Ranger's strong frame and the gentle rise and fall of his chest with each measured breath. Ethan whispered lowly, voice steady, "We are right here, Ranger. You do not have to face this alone." And the dog responded with a faint nudge, his head pressing lightly against Ethan's hand, muscles coiling and relaxing with the rhythm of reassurance. The sterile scent of the clinic mingled with the warmth of life emanating from Ranger, carrying with it a comforting sense of presence that seemed to anchor the room. Dr. Hayes leaned closer, carefully selecting the next instrument, and Ranger's ears twitched, attuned to every sound, every shift of light, every shadow that moved across the room. Yet he remained calm, trusting the steady presence of Ethan and the precise care of the doctor. The subtle beeping of the monitor and the faint scrape of metal instruments across the tray punctuated the tension, each sound a reminder of the delicacy of the moment and the fragile balance between patience and action. Ethan's hand moved slowly along Ranger's back, the warmth of his touch steadying the dog, a silent signal of trust and encouragement that bridged the uncertainty that hung in the air. Outside, the wind carried the faint aroma of rain-soaked earth and budding spring flowers, brushing lightly against the window, a gentle reminder of the world continuing beyond the walls of the clinic. Yet within, every second felt magnified, every glance and motion weighted with purpose. Ranger shifted again, tail flicking subtly, eyes fixed on Ethan's face, absorbing reassurance through posture and presence rather than sound, a quiet dialogue of trust passing between them. Dr. Hayes' voice broke the stillness, soft and measured. "We will take this carefully, together." And the words seemed to flow into the space, threading calm through tension, grounding both man and dog. Ethan adjusted his position, keeping a firm yet gentle hold, guiding Ranger with patience, each movement synchronized, the room alive with quiet anticipation, the bond between human and dog evident in every shared breath, every subtle glance, every small motion, a testament to trust, presence, and the patient care that would see them through the delicate steps ahead, each moment carrying the weight of hope, the quiet promise that they were not alone, and that together they could navigate the uncertainty before them with courage and unwavering focus. The room grew still as a quiet tension settled over the tile floor, every movement deliberate, every sound magnified in the hush of anticipation. Ranger shifted slightly, pressing closer against Ethan Cole's leg, amber eyes searching his face for guidance, trust woven into the subtle tilt of his head and the soft rise and fall of his chest. Dr. Olivia Hayes positioned herself with precise care, gloved hands hovering over the instruments, eyes sharp but calm, noting each twitch of Ranger's ears and the faint ripple of muscles beneath his sable coat. The sunlight through the blinds cast delicate patterns across the floor and up the walls, dancing over the dog's form and highlighting the gentle sheen of fur, the subtle tension coiling in every limb, and the warmth that pulsed quietly under Ethan's hand. Ethan whispered softly, low and steady, "We are right here with you, buddy. You are not alone." And the words seemed to thread through the space, a tether of reassurance connecting them. Ranger exhaled a quiet, almost imperceptible breath, leaning slightly into Ethan's touch, the connection grounding both dog and human in a shared presence. The heart monitor's faint beep punctuated the stillness, marking each second with an echo of life and vigilance, while the soft hum of the air conditioning and the faint scrape of instruments on metal created a delicate symphony of concentration and care. Outside, the morning breeze rustled the leaves against the window, carrying the faint aroma of rain and freshly turned soil, a subtle reminder that the world moved on beyond the walls. Yet here, time felt suspended, each moment stretched by attention and patience. Dr. Hayes adjusted the instrument with meticulous care, her movements deliberate, and Ranger's head followed every shift, amber eyes reflecting the soft light, every flicker and shadow registering in his attentive gaze. Ethan's hand remained lightly on Ranger's back, warmth pressing into fur, a silent promise that every step would be guided, every decision tempered by patience and care. The soft exhale of breath from both humans and dog mingled with the quiet rhythm of the monitor, creating a shared cadence that eased the tension just enough to allow focus to sharpen. Ranger's tail flicked slightly, a subtle signal of engagement, muscles coiling gently, poised and alert, yet relaxed enough to demonstrate trust in the calm presence surrounding him. The X-ray screen glowed faintly, a ghostly reflection on the tile floor, casting pale light across the attentive posture of Ranger, highlighting the careful, synchronized preparation of both Dr. Hayes and Ethan. Every small movement mattered. The gentle tilt of Ranger's head, the soft guidance of Ethan's hand, the precise adjustment of the instrument, each detail forming a choreography of attention and care that bridged uncertainty with quiet hope. In the stillness, the bond between human and dog radiated through every shared breath, every subtle glance, every slight shift of weight, a language beyond words, a quiet testament to patience, trust, and unwavering presence, carrying the promise that together they would navigate the delicate path ahead with care, focus, and the quiet courage that comes from unwavering loyalty. The room seemed to hold its breath as Dr. Olivia Hayes paused, eyes fixed on Ranger, who lay still on the tile, head slightly lowered, amber eyes half closed yet alert to every subtle motion around him. Ethan Cole crouched close, fingers resting lightly on Ranger's back, feeling the faint ripple of muscles beneath the fur, the warmth of life anchoring both human and dog in the tense quiet. The faint hum of the air conditioning, the gentle whir of the ceiling fan, and the soft, steady beep of the heart monitor blended into a calm rhythm that seemed to pulse through the room, each sound marking the passage of time in the suspended moment. Sunlight streamed through the blinds, casting pale stripes across the floor, illuminating the soft sheen of Ranger's sable coat and the delicate rise and fall of his chest, highlighting the subtle tension and coiled energy within him. Ethan whispered, voice low and steady, "We are right here, buddy. You do not have to face this alone." And Ranger responded with the faintest nudge, pressing against Ethan's hand, the contact grounding both in the shared presence of trust. Dr. Hayes adjusted the instruments on the tray, each movement careful and precise, the metal glinting softly in the filtered light, and Ranger's ears twitched, following every subtle sound, every small shadow that shifted across the walls. Outside, the breeze rustled the leaves faintly against the window pane, carrying with it the earthy scent of damp soil and spring blooms, a quiet reminder of life beyond the walls, yet inside, every second stretched, every motion weighted with intent and focus. Ranger shifted slightly, tail brushing lightly against the floor, amber eyes following Ethan's gaze, muscles coiled yet relaxed, a quiet readiness imbued with trust and calm. Dr. Hayes leaned in, positioning herself with meticulous care, gloved hands steady, her focus unwavering, and Ethan's hand followed the subtle curves of Ranger's back, a reassuring anchor, fingers brushing lightly against fur, a silent communication that passed trust and presence from one to the other. The X-ray monitor glowed softly, casting its pale reflection across the tile floor, illuminating Ranger's attentive posture, every subtle twitch and movement magnified in the light, each detail registering in the eyes of the humans present. Ethan shifted slightly, maintaining a calm, grounding presence, the quiet warmth of his hand a tether for Ranger, and a steady, rhythmic breathing between them underscored the room, a shared cadence of focus, patience, and silent encouragement. Dr. Hayes spoke in measured tones, her words threading calm through the tension, step by step, carefully, and Ranger responded with the faintest lift of his head, amber eyes meeting Ethan's, drawing strength and assurance from his steady presence. Each movement, each glance, each gentle touch became part of a delicate choreography of attention and care, where human and dog existed together in harmony, every heartbeat echoing through the quiet room, a testament to patience, presence, and the unwavering bond that carried them forward through uncertainty with quiet courage and trust. Time seemed to slow as Ranger's body shifted ever so slightly, the faint quiver of his muscles drawing Ethan Cole's full attention, his hand resting lightly along the dog's spine, a tether of calm and reassurance. The faint glow of the X-ray monitor cast pale light across the tile floor, reflecting subtly in Ranger's amber eyes, which now held a quiet intensity, alert yet trusting. Dr. Olivia Hayes leaned closer, her gloved hands steady, arranging the instruments with deliberate care, the metallic surfaces catching the morning light streaming through the blinds, scattering soft reflections across the room. The gentle hum of the air conditioning mingled with the soft rhythmic beeping of the heart monitor, creating a quiet cadence that seemed to stretch each moment. Every breath and movement waited with anticipation. Outside, the wind rustled the leaves lightly, carrying the subtle scent of damp earth and fresh blooms, a contrast to the sterile warmth of the clinic, a reminder of life beyond the walls. Yet within, every second was magnified, every motion intentional. Ethan's voice, low and steady, threaded through the room. "We are right here, buddy. You are safe with us." And Ranger responded with a gentle nudge of his head against Ethan's hand, muscles coiling slightly before relaxing under the warmth and reassurance. The faint scrape of instruments on the tray punctuated the quiet, each sound amplified in the attentive silence, and Ranger's ears twitched, following every subtle noise, every shifting shadow, every minute reflection of light across the walls. Dr. Hayes' eyes never left Ranger, noting each subtle shift of weight, every lift of the head, every blink and sigh, moving with precision, her body a careful rhythm of control and patience, her voice a quiet anchor. The sunlight streaming through the blinds cast delicate stripes along the floor, illuminating the rippling fur of Ranger, and highlighting the slight tension in his muscles, the faint rise and fall of his chest with each measured breath. Ethan adjusted his hand gently, feeling the faint warmth radiating through the fur, the quiet pulse of life under his fingers, a tether of connection and trust. Ranger's tail flicked faintly, a subtle signal of awareness and engagement, muscles coiled yet relaxed, eyes bright with cautious curiosity, amber depths reflecting both the pale light and the quiet intensity of the room. Dr. Hayes moved a step closer, instrument in hand, ready for the next careful step, and Ranger lifted his head slightly, ears pricked, eyes locked on Ethan, trusting the presence, the shared understanding, and the patient, deliberate care that filled the room. The soft beeping of the monitor, the hum of the air conditioning, the occasional scrape of metal on tile, each sound resonated with significance, every detail amplified in the stillness, forming a rhythm of patience, focus, and quiet anticipation. Ethan's gentle touch, Ranger's attentive posture, and Dr. Hayes' deliberate movements converged into a single, measured cadence of care, the room charged with the delicate balance between uncertainty and trust. And in this suspended moment, human and dog existed together in a shared awareness, every heartbeat echoing the promise of guidance, support, and unwavering presence. The atmosphere in the examination room shifted subtly, a quiet relief threading through the tension that had gripped every surface and corner. Ranger lifted his head slightly, amber eyes brighter, muscles relaxing just enough to signal a cautious reprieve, and Ethan Cole's hand followed the curve of his spine, providing warmth and steady reassurance. Dr. Olivia Hayes carefully moved the instrument to a safe position, her gloved hands steady, and the faint glimmer of sunlight through the blinds illuminated the soft sheen of Ranger's fur, highlighting the subtle rise and fall of his chest with each measured breath. The heart monitor beeped softly, a steady rhythm that seemed to echo the room's collective exhalation, while the hum of the air conditioning and the whisper of the ceiling fan created a quiet, constant background cadence. Ethan whispered in a low, calm tone, "You are safe now, buddy. We are right here with you." And Ranger responded with a subtle nuzzle, pressing gently against Ethan's leg, the connection between them tangible, a silent dialogue of trust and shared awareness. Dr. Hayes moved with precision, aligning instruments for the next careful step, her eyes noting each micro-movement of Ranger, every twitch of an ear, every flicker of a paw, ensuring the dog's comfort and readiness. The light from the X-ray monitor cast pale reflections across the floor, tracing soft lines over Ranger's form, highlighting his attentive posture, the alert intelligence in his eyes, and the quiet strength of his muscles coiling and relaxing with trust and attention. Outside, the morning air carried the faint aroma of rain-soaked earth and blooming spring flowers, rustling leaves lightly against the window, a gentle reminder of life moving beyond the clinic walls, while inside, every breath, every glance, and every subtle motion seemed magnified, the room steeped in focus and careful anticipation. Ranger's tail moved slightly, a signal of engagement and readiness. His amber gaze locking on Ethan, muscles tensing briefly, then releasing in rhythm with the calm energy surrounding him. Ethan's hand remained steady along Ranger's back, a tactile anchor, while Dr. Hayes spoke softly, her tone measured, threading calm and assurance through the quiet room. One step at a time, together. And Ranger responded with a faint, deliberate shift, leaning slightly closer, a gesture of trust that reinforced the connection between human and dog. The soft scrape of metal instruments, the hum of air, the gentle rhythmic beeping, and the subtle rustle of Ranger's paws against the tile floor all wove together into a quiet symphony of patience, focus, and care. Each movement, each breath, each subtle shift carried weight, a choreography of attention and presence that bridged the space between uncertainty and hope. Ethan's whispered words, Ranger's alert posture, and Dr. Hayes' meticulous care coalesced into a shared rhythm, a delicate balance of tension and calm, where human and dog moved in silent harmony, the bond between them radiating trust, patience, and the quiet promise of navigation through the delicate steps that remained, every heartbeat echoing the resilience and unwavering presence that filled the room with steady, enduring calm. The morning sunlight deepened, spilling golden light across the examination room, warming the sterile tiles and catching the soft sheen of Ranger's sable coat, highlighting the subtle rise and fall of his chest with each measured breath. Ethan Cole remained crouched beside him, hand resting lightly along the dog's back, fingers tracing the familiar curves and contours, grounding both of them in the quiet intimacy of shared presence. Dr. Olivia Hayes moved with deliberate care, adjusting the instruments to prepare for the next step, her gloved hands steady, eyes focused on every subtle twitch, every shift of weight, every flicker of amber eyes that reflected trust and attention. The hum of the air conditioning, the faint whir of the ceiling fan, and the soft, rhythmic beeping of the heart monitor blended together, creating a cadence that seemed to slow time, drawing attention to each micro-moment, each small breath, each slight adjustment of body and focus. Ranger shifted slightly, pressing into Ethan's side, a faint nuzzle of the head communicating trust and awareness, muscles relaxing under the gentle warmth of a human hand, a quiet dialogue passing between them without words. Outside, the breeze stirred leaves faintly against the window pane, carrying the subtle scent of damp soil and early spring blooms, a reminder that life continued beyond the walls, yet within, every second felt rich with attention, every motion imbued with significance. Ethan's voice, calm and measured, threaded through the stillness. "We are right here, buddy. You are not alone." And Ranger responded with a soft tilt of his head, eyes meeting his with unwavering focus, muscles coiling and releasing with each exhalation, a quiet harmony of reassurance and presence. Dr. Hayes adjusted her posture, leaning closer, instrument in hand, movements precise, deliberate, and careful, eyes noting every subtle shift in Ranger's expression, every micro-movement of ears and paws, ensuring the dog's comfort and readiness. The faint reflections of the X-ray monitor glowed across the floor, illuminating Ranger's attentive posture, highlighting the alert intelligence in his amber eyes and the coiled readiness of his muscles, a quiet anticipation tempered by trust. Ethan's hand remained lightly pressed against the fur, warmth radiating through each careful touch, a tether of reassurance, while the dog leaned slightly closer, pressing gently, a silent confirmation of trust and understanding. The soft scrape of metal against tile, the faint hiss of air conditioning, and the rhythmic beeping of monitors merged into a quiet symphony, each sound carrying weight and significance, amplifying focus and intention. Ranger's tail flicked gently, muscles shifting subtly, eyes tracking every motion of Ethan and Dr. Hayes, a silent conversation of calm, attention, and trust flowing in both directions. Each measured breath, every glance, and all subtle motions formed a choreography of presence, patience, and care, where human and dog existed in a delicate balance, each heartbeat echoing the quiet strength, unwavering trust, and gentle reassurance that threaded the room together, preparing them for the careful steps ahead with synchronized focus, quiet courage, and the steadfast bond that had been built over years of loyalty and shared understanding. The room seemed to exhale as a quiet warmth settled over the space, sunlight deepening its glow across the tiles, brushing against the smooth sheen of Ranger's sable coat, illuminating the gentle contours of his muscles as he shifted slightly, leaning closer into Ethan Cole's steady presence. The soft hum of the air conditioning, the subtle rhythmic beeping of the heart monitor, and the faint whir of the ceiling fan created a steady cadence that threaded through every movement and breath, a quiet rhythm marking the progress of care and attention. Ethan's hand remained pressed lightly against Ranger's back, a grounding warmth, each touch a tether of reassurance that flowed silently between them, a quiet affirmation of trust and loyalty. Dr. Olivia Hayes moved with deliberate precision, her gloved hands arranging instruments carefully, eyes scanning every subtle movement, every flicker of amber eyes, every twitch of ears, noting the coiling and release of muscles, ensuring Ranger's comfort and readiness. The faint smell of antiseptic mixed with the natural warmth of the dog, creating an atmosphere thick with focused care, while outside the windows, a gentle breeze rustled the early spring leaves, carrying with it the scent of damp soil and blooming flowers, a distant reminder of life continuing beyond the clinic walls. Ranger's tail shifted gently, a small, deliberate motion signaling attentiveness, his gaze fixed on Ethan, amber eyes reflecting light and unwavering trust, muscles relaxed yet ready, the bond between human and dog evident in the shared stillness. Ethan's voice threaded softly through the quiet, measured, each word deliberate. "We are right here, buddy. You are safe with us." And Ranger responded with a subtle lean, pressing closer, head resting briefly against the warmth of Ethan's hand, a silent dialogue of reassurance and presence. Dr. Hayes adjusted her posture, moving just enough to align the instruments for the next careful step, her hands steady, movements precise, eyes trained on every micro shift of posture, every small breath, every slight lift of the head, ensuring that the trust Ranger placed in them remained unbroken. The X-ray monitor cast a gentle glow across the floor, highlighting the attentive posture of Ranger, the soft ripple of muscles beneath his coat, and the quiet intelligence in his gaze, each detail emphasized by the soft sunlight cutting through the blinds. Ethan shifted slightly, maintaining steady pressure and warmth through his hand, voice a low murmur of calm encouragement, guiding Ranger through the uncertainty with quiet reassurance. The subtle sounds of the room, the soft scrape of instruments, the gentle pulse of the monitor, the hum of the air conditioning, merged into a symphony of presence, patience, and careful attention, every heartbeat amplified by the shared focus of human and dog. Ranger's ears twitched, eyes attentive, tail flicking lightly in acknowledgement, muscles moving with controlled precision, leaning into Ethan's hand, the silent bond of trust radiating through every movement. In this shared stillness, every breath, glance, and gesture became a testament to patience, loyalty, and unwavering presence, a delicate balance of care and calm that carried them through the final steps of attention, a quiet assurance that they had navigated the tension with focus, love, and steadfast connection. The room seemed to glow with a quiet serenity, sunlight spilling across the tiles in soft, golden stripes, illuminating Ranger's sable coat and highlighting the gentle rise and fall of his chest as he rested against Ethan Cole. The tension that had filled the space hours before had eased into a calm rhythm, the subtle hum of the air conditioning and the soft beeping of the heart monitor blending into a gentle cadence that underscored the shared relief of the moment. Ethan's hand remained lightly pressed along Ranger's back, warm and steady, a silent reassurance that mirrored the trust and loyalty that had carried them both through the delicate hours. Dr. Olivia Hayes adjusted her gloves, placing the instruments carefully to the side, her eyes softening as she observed the dog's alert yet relaxed posture, noting every subtle twitch of ear and flicker of amber eyes that reflected intelligence, awareness, and a cautious joy. Outside, a gentle breeze shifted the leaves against the window pane, carrying the faint, sweet scent of blooming spring flowers and damp earth, a reminder of the world continuing beyond the walls. Yet within the room, time seemed to stretch, each heartbeat resonating with shared presence and understanding. Ranger lifted his head slightly, eyes meeting Ethan's with a deep, quiet recognition, tail brushing lightly against the tile, muscles coiled then relaxing. As he leaned further into the warmth of the human hand that had guided him with patience and care, Ethan whispered softly, "You made it, buddy. You are safe now." And the words flowed into the space like a gentle current, threading calm and assurance through every corner, every shadow, every subtle reflection on the tiles and walls. The X-ray monitor cast a pale glow across the room, highlighting the attentive posture of Ranger, the soft sheen of fur, and the subtle curvature of muscles that had responded to care and guidance with perfect trust. Dr. Hayes exhaled softly, voice low and measured, noting the relaxed alertness in Ranger's eyes, the quiet balance between curiosity and calm, the gentle rise and fall of his chest in steady rhythm. Ethan adjusted slightly, maintaining warmth and pressure, fingers tracing familiar curves, a tether of connection that spoke more than words, and Ranger responded with a small, deliberate nudge, amber eyes bright, reflecting relief, trust, and quiet happiness. The soft scrape of instruments being set aside, the gentle pulse of the monitor, and the hum of air circulation filled the room with a subtle, grounding rhythm, each element reinforcing the calm and care that had carried the moments from tension into serenity. Ranger's ears flicked, tail shifted lightly, and every micro-movement was a dialogue of presence, trust, and understanding, a testament to the bond between human and dog, the patience and care that had guided them together through uncertainty. In this suspended quiet, every breath, every glance, every touch became a celebration of trust earned, care given, and the enduring connection that existed between Ethan and Ranger, a delicate harmony of loyalty, patience, and gentle reassurance that filled the room with a warm, lasting grace.